to the channel and welcome to this episode of the Sunday Sum Up. I am really late this week, and I apologize for my absence. There's been a lot going on lately. Had to do some traveling. Normie daughter graduated high school, so I flew back out to California, spent a few days there, had a grad party that was awesome, had a great time. She had a great time, so congratulations to you, sweetie, if you're watching. Super proud of you. You're awesome. And I've just been busy outside of that too, just doing stuff around the house. Got little projects kind of going, and work's been really busy. So I apologize for taking such a long absence. I think it's been like 3 weeks at least. I want to say it was Memorial Weekend. I'm sorry, no, it was the weekend before Memorial Weekend. That was my last episode 12. So there's a lot of things that I missed. Nothing too crazy. The only two things that I think in the gaming space that were a big deal was what was it called? It was hosted by Jeff Keighley. It was like the Summer Games Fest, basically an E3 replacement, which I thought I watched it. And from what I understand, people who watched it live really fucking hated it, and for good reason, because I was at work, first of all, so I was kind of behind, and I got to pause, every time I had to do something, but it was just on in the background, and I would pause and kind of take a look at what the trailers were and stuff. But it was off and on for me, so I didn't have to sit through the entire show. But I know there was a fuck ton of just ads, and it was bogged down with a ton of developer speak, which is, it's not the worst thing, but it just felt like this constant like trailer, then we pause for a few minutes and just talk, and then trailer, pause, commercial. And like that was the other thing too, it was like a lot of ads. It just had no rhythm or flow. That show probably could have been about 45 minutes shorter had all that bullshit been trimmed off. And I gotta laugh because I used to be a huge fan of The Rock. He was my guy back in my WWE days, and I was watching wrestling in the Attitude Era is what they called it. He was the man. He was the Brahma Bull, the People's Champ. I thought he was just great. Read his book, I had his Brahma Bull jersey. Big fan. Got to see him live at a pay-per-view event, and I actually saw him again. Yeah, I saw him again on like a Monday Night Raw or something like that. He's huge. He has risen to. I think he was the highest paid actor last year. I think it was last year or the year before, but he really is. He's banking. He's a big star. He's a big grab for attention. I thought his fucking he did a shirtless it was like basically it was just like an ad. It was like he was promoting Black Adam the movie, but he was also holding up an energy drink that he's promoting, and he's standing in his fucking private gym that looks like a regular 24-hour fitness type gym. I mean, not hating on the man, that's cool, but it was weird. It was just such a weird fucking thing. And it was stuff like that, like the Games Fest or whatever the fuck they call it. It just had no real flow, and it was cringy as hell. And there was some cool things that they showed, but I was going to go back and do like a walkthrough, but I'm not going to waste my time. Go check it out. I definitely, like, right now is a good time to watch it. Like, watching it live sucked for a lot of people. Like I said, fortunately I didn't. So I skimmed through, like, every time I saw like a commercial or them just talking, I would just fast forward, and then I would watch the next video or whatever, the next trailer, and then let them talk in the background while I was working or whatever. So yeah, I feel sorry for people who had to like sit and watch it live, because that shit sucked. But one thing I wanted to say real quick before I get started, I had the opportunity last Thursday to drive up to Dallas and meet the Friday Night Tights crew. If you don't know who that is, it's a collaboration of a few channels. They have Gary from Nerdrotic, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamer, Ryan Cannell from RK Outpost, Quarter Black Garrett, who now works at Nerdrotic, I believe, Odin, Odin's movie blog. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody else. I can't remember. And then like Young Ripa showed up right as I was leaving, so I just got a few pictures of him like from a distance. Carrie Smith from Unsafe Space, Drunk 3PO. There was some really, to me, they're big YouTubers. They're the group that I watch. All those YouTubers I just named, they're my regular clicks. That's usually who I go to and watch. But it was a real pleasure to meet all of them. They were super cool, every one of them. They were very nice, very humble. I mean, you could talk to them for as long as you wanted. I was nervous, so like I'm not like the type of person that I don't like to pull people's like, I don't like to chew on their ear and like chew up their time, and because there are so many people, a lot of people showed up, and which was awesome. So I was really quick. I just shook hands, told them what I thought of their work, and I was a big fan, and I got selfies with everybody. I got pictures. The only person I didn't get was Ryan from RK Outpost, in which I was bummed. I went through all my photos. I'm like, shit, I was missing one, and that's who it was. But it was a great opportunity. I've never done anything like that before. And all those cats, they were all cool as hell. Every single one of them. I met some cool people, people that were there just like me, just to meet and greet, shake hands and stuff. And they were giving merch and signing autographs and shit like that. I didn't get anything. I didn't know that was actually going to be going on because I'd never gone to anything like that. But I just wanted to say that was really awesome. So if you haven't watched any of those channels that I just mentioned, go check them out. I think they're worth your time. They have their perspective, and it may not be everyone's perspective, but I think they put out really quality content, and those channels have just blown up. All of them. They're all just growing like crazy. Oh, Comics Division. That was the other one. Sorry. Yeah, Comics Division was there. I got to meet him. But anyways, go check him out. And if any of you guys just happen to be watching this video, thank you so much. You guys are really cool. All of you. You guys are super nice, very just normal people. And sometimes viewers can hype up in their minds like I did, like almost like they're minor celebrities, I think, and to meet them and just actually just be like, there's like, hey, what's up, how's it going, shake your hand, oh, can I get a picture? Absolutely. And they were all super nice. So you guys are awesome. So I appreciate you guys taking the time. So now let's move along here. I'm not going to go through like all of the little bits of news over the last week or even the previous weeks, because I'm going to try to play a little bit of catch up here, but I think I'm going to start trimming down my Sunday sum up and definitely cut down on some of the topics, because I think some of the things I want to talk about, but when I go back and even look at my notes, I'm like, I really didn't need to discuss that. It really wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm going to try to trim it up. This channel, I'm trying to grow as a creator and as someone who is enjoying, doing what I'm doing, as this hobby is really fun. But I need to get better, right? It's all about self-improving and getting better, delivering good content. So, I'll be making some changes, so let's get into what I have here. So just a couple of the Hollywood things. This first one is just like to start with like a total downer. Ezra Miller, I guess, is on the run right now. If you don't know who this guy is, he plays the Flash in the what was it called? Oh, Justice League. And then he had a little stint in BVS, I think. I never really liked the guy as an actor. I thought he was kind of annoying. Having said that, that's just an opinion of his character on screen. Personally, I think the guy is a douchebag. I've always thought that. He attacked a woman on camera and grabbed her by the throat, slammed her on the ground. I think he is in a protected class because of his ID, and he uses that as like his shield, and I think it's bullshit. And I've never liked this guy for that reason. And he went on a fucking terror spree in Hawaii and got the cops calling him a bunch of times. And he threw a chair, cracked a woman in the head. He was threatening people's lives, threatening to kill them. So this guy was already a douche in my eyes. But now there is some. Now it's getting serious. So a family has come forward, and they are filing like a restraining order against Ezra Miller because they claim that their 18-year-old daughter, well, she's now 18-year-old daughter, but at the age of 12, he was grooming her and being inappropriate and sort of brainwashing her and, just being a fucking shithead. Okay, and I need to say something too. I thought this guy was a dipshit before. These things, what I'm talking about now, these are just allegations. They're pretty heavy allegations, but they're still allegations. And I think everybody, if until they are proven to be facts, or he gets his day in court, if that ever happens, I'm not going to sit here and say these are facts. They're not. They're allegations. But having said that, this family has come forward. The parents have come forward for one girl. She's a woman now. I guess she's 18, but one young lady, and said that he was grooming her since she was 12 years old. And the thing that got me was the fucking parents, to me, are pieces of shit, because the things that they say that they were allowing to happen when she was 12 years old, that they were allowing Ezra Miller to fly their daughter, their 12-year-old daughter at the time, to his home in like Vermont, and I think he has a place overseas in like Europe or some shit, and spending time with the guy, and like what the fuck is this? It's like Neverland Ranch shit. It's weird. Like, why do you, if you're a grown ass man, why do you need to fly kids to your house? Like, that's some bullshit. I just don't, I will not and never understand that. I just don't understand that shit. So that came out a few weeks ago, and then another family just came out, said the same shit, said that when their daughter was 12 years old, same shit, same story. These fucking parents, though, like, they're not innocent. If this is true and you're allowing your daughter, your 12-year-old kid, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, if you're allowing your 12-year-old child to go fly and spend weeks or whatever days with a celebrity just unsupervised, you're fucking crazy. There's something wrong with you. And I really do believe in, like, everyone can parent their children in any way they see fit, as long as the child isn't in danger. Some people raise their children in like a Catholic home. I was raised Catholic, or a Christian home, or an atheist, non-denomination, or whatever, that's fine. That's whatever, I just think that, I don't think the, teachers or the government should have any fucking say as to how you raise your child, unless you are putting that child in danger. This is some fucking stupid shit, though. Like, these parents, there is some accountability for them. If this is true, they have guilt on their hands as well. So we'll see what happens, but apparently this guy deleted his Instagram. I don't know if he deleted his Twitter account or not, but this fool is like on the run. I guess they can't find this guy. So crazy shit. And what the fuck is Warner Brothers going to do? I've seen some videos come out and I've watched a couple of videos online, and it's like people are saying that this guy is, that Warner Brothers is going to drop him, or that they have dropped him. I don't know if that's a fact or not. Everything that I've read so far, I haven't seen anything that Warner Brothers has made a statement that they are dropping him. But there's like lots of rumors going around, but this guy's he's a piece of shit. I mean, I'm not talking, like I said, these are allegations. I'm talking about the shit that we've seen him do. Like, the arrest video of him in fucking Hawaii was a mess. The dude's fucked up. He's got some mental problems. Him attacking a fucking pregnant woman with his bare hands, I have a problem with that. So I don't know. I think Warner Brothers, I think they might be in a bad position, because this movie, The Flash, is supposed to come out next year. It's already done filming and all this other shit. Who gives a fuck? Like, suck it up, WB. You got billions of dollars. Cut this guy loose, kill the fucking movie, and reshoot it. I just don't see there's no way that they can, like, they can't sweep this under the rug. Like, this is a big deal. And I'd be curious how this unfolds. I just hope, this idiot doesn't hurt anybody, or himself. if he can get help and turn his life around. Everyone loves an underdog story or a comeback story. I mean, right now I could care less about the guy, but I don't want to see him hurt anybody or hurt himself. So hopefully this ends in some sort of a peaceful manner. But this guy needs help. And if this shit is true, he needs prison. So, all right. The next, speaking of like the crazy fucking Hollywood shit, the Amber Heard trial and the Johnny Depp thing, I'm not going to get like really deep into this shit. Just my thoughts on it in a nutshell. Amber Heard, she was lying. She got caught lying. I listened to the audio months ago where she's on tape with Johnny talking about how she does hit him and, whatever, take it like a man. And so she is abusive. She's physically abusing this guy. I don't think Johnny Depp is a saint. I just don't think he is. I think he's definitely, they're in a toxic relationship as it is, but she went out of her way to fucking ruin this guy's career, and it worked. He lost his job with what was it, Pirates of the Caribbean, and then the other what was that other? Damn it! Oh, Harry Potter. That's what it was. It was a Harry Potter movie, one of those movies. I don't know. I don't keep track of them, but yeah, and I think that her lying. I think it really crying victim when you're not a victim. It makes it hard for people, or and I'm just saying people in general, because not all victims are women. Let's just make that clear. So just victims in general who are suffering some sort of abuse or in some sort of abusive relationship, it makes it hard for them to come forward, because they're going to come forward and be like, oh really, is this another Amber Heard situation? So it just sucks. And then she just the balls on her to come out and not even cop to anything. Just even though she lost the case, it was like she's doubling down, and so and that's another thing too, is I think she's out of Aquaman 2. I think they removed her completely. I'm not sure, but I think that's what was the last thing I saw. But anywho, moving on to, I just wanted to touch base real quick. I have not seen Top Gun Maverick yet. It's kicking ass in the box office, which is great. As a childhood fan of the first movie, I'm going to go see this. I will see this movie. I will do a review on it. Like I said, I've just been really busy. My weekends have been full. So hopefully I can get in either this week, like maybe a night after work, or this weekend, because I do want to do a review on this movie. I'm really looking forward to it. Everything that I've heard about it sounds really cool. It's just like an all around sort of good action movie, and anything with like aviation and jets and shit, I'm all in on that shit. So, all right, let's move along real quick here. The next thing, so Kenobi, I am watching Kenobi. Man, this show is fucking trash. This is the epitome of trash. I was doing, so, like I said, since I've been away for so long, I'm still watching shows and stuff, and I'm still taking notes. And I'm every time I see something, I'm always take a note, and I do a little research on it, and see if it's something I want to talk about on the sum up. I have tons of notes, and I'm not going to go through them because the show isn't worth the oxygen, outside of the fact that it's just trash. It's like, it's terrible acting, terrible script, terrible writing. It's like the lowest of quality. It's a joke. The things that are going on in this show, I just can't get over how stupid it is. The things that they're trying to get the viewer to believe, to buy as like an actual story beat. Like there's a scene where Obi-Wan Kenobi is breaking out Princess Leia, and he hides her walking through like a base full of stormtroopers and officers, like all of the Empire just all around this guy. And he has a big trench coat on, and he puts her underneath the trench coat, and she walks next to him. This big old bulky, child is underneath his coat, which is weird anyways, and then she like takes her face and she peeks out so that we can see that she's in there. Oh my God, I was fucking laughing my ass off. It's so stupid. It's so bad. And the agenda is strong with this one. Kenobi has no agency. He has no control over any situation he's in. He's being led around by somebody else, usually a woman. They're trying to make Princess Leia, like, I can't stand Princess Leia now. The Carrie Fisher Princess Leia of the OG trilogy, I'm all in, all good. Still love those movies, but this young version of Princess Leia is stupid as hell. Like there's just no logic. They're trying to make this child act. I'm sure they sat her down and said, what you need to do is just act like you're a 30-year-old woman from the original trilogy. Like she talks like an adult, but she says stupid shit. They try to write these like words of wisdom lines that she says to Kenobi that's sort of getting him to work through his fucking shit and in his brain, and it's motivating him. And she's like this little fucking, know-it-all. Like she's leading him around. Like legitimately the plot is moving forward with a 10-year-old little girl. And I don't even think she looks 10. She looks like she's 7. She's tiny, and she's a terrible actress. Sorry, kid. No bueno. She is a bad actress, but she's leading the story forward the entire time. And he has no real say in the matter. He just sort of follows along like an idiot. So I don't know. I can't get over just how bad it is. I mean, and with bad characters, this character Riva, who there's some other outside bullshit that Disney tried to put some spin on the fact that this character's shit and the actor's trash, like it has something to do with the color of her skin, because she's a black woman, so all of a sudden it's like if you don't like her, you're a racist. Oh my god, it's like, it's just so stupid. It's like that's how Disney plays, that's how Hollywood plays in general, but Disney is like the worst, and they're the biggest fucking hypocrites in the world. Like the minimizing of Finn on the movie poster for China, the eliminating the lesbian kiss from one of their Star Wars movies from China and the Arabic countries and stuff. It's like they're so full of shit. They're hypocrites. They're full of shit. And Disney is just trash all around. This is to me, this is like I think this is probably the show that's going to end the Star Wars, just any sort of like normie like myself. I know I call myself a normie, and I believe that I am, because I'm not like a lore person, but I think most normies like me are waking up and paying attention and raising the bar, because the bar has been lowered so low that we're not, as normies, accepting the trash, the mediocrity. And I think this, to me, most normies are going to watch this and just, this is it. Like, this is probably the end of Star Wars. It is for me. Like I said, I'm watching it for the channel and stuff, but and it's just funny to laugh at. It's a comedy. It acts like a parody. It's like I'm watching Spaceballs, and Spaceballs was a fucking fantastic movie compared to this. And it feels like a parody of Star Wars, like some fan fiction film student, fan fiction creation. It's just that bad. And the character Riva, they're trying to make her like, she can't be evil all on her own. She has to have some sort of driving force, because they can't make a woman actually be evil. That's just the way Disney is. Disney took Cruella, a woman who murders puppies for their fur, to make clothes out of. Okay, a woman who murders dogs openly and villainously to make clothes out of innocent dogs. They made her a hero. They made her cool. They made her strong and powerful and all this shit. She's a fucking evil bitch. She's fucking evil. I remember that watching 101 Dalmatians when I was a child. I mean, that bitch was kind of scary back then. I was like, geez, like she crazy face and wigging out. Towards the end of that movie, she was just like, she was 100% like cuckoo. And that's Disney, though. That's what they do. They cannot have a woman actually be a villainous person, a villainous character. And it's so bad for writing. Like if you're making or creating a character or story, and you start boxing yourself in and limiting yourself because you don't want to offend a certain group, you're killing yourself. you're shooting yourself in the foot. You know, it's like playing like, oh, I'm going to go play baseball, but I'm going to, do it with handcuffs, and a blindfold. And I'm going to do it in a, I'm going to force myself to like be on my knees the entire time. I won't be on my feet. It's like, you can't play the game. Okay. And that's what they're doing. They just keep cutting off. They cut off pieces of what's just fundamental writing 101. They're removing those pieces because they have to adhere to some fucking agenda. And I think it's peak. I think it's peaked. It doesn't get any worse, but I say that, and then there's going to be the next show that's going to be shit. But this is fucking trash. This is like the lowest of low. Obi-Wan Kenobi is just like, he's not in the same character. And the shitty thing is you could have had a decent story here. Obi-Wan is a big name. I don't fucking like Ewan McGregor on a social, personal level. I think he's a fucking douchebag, but he's a good actor. I liked him in the prequels. He was sort of the high mark in the prequels because Hayden Christensen, I didn't think he was that good. But you could have done something special there, and they just to me, it looks as though they just, like, Disney really, really, really does not like the original characters at all. Like, any of the characters, everything that they've done to the characters of the original trilogy, it's like they just don't fucking like it. That's what it looks like to me. So I just, trash. It's terrible. So, I mean, and I can go on and on because like I said, I've got notes for each episode, and it's like, I can break this shit down and just, it's laughable how bad it is. Just laughable. It's comedy. So, of the worst kind, because it's unintentional. All right, let's move along here. So I do want to pick up here real quick on a show that I talked about last time I was on. Better Call Saul had the mid-season finale. Whew, that shit was good. That's a fucking good show. If you want to, if you need something good, like a real show that has real writing, real acting, quality story arc and character arc, go watch Better Call Saul. Go start from the very beginning. This is on season 6, so you got 6 seasons of just feasting on like actual good writing. And it's so funny because we were watching it. Normie wife and I were watching, and it was like we stopped after the mid-season finale, which was like it was so good. Like, it ended on such a fucking whammy that we were talking about it after the fact, and I was like, there isn't a single actor in this entire show that is bad. There isn't one actor that puts on a poor performance. It's just even the minor characters who may only have a few minutes of screen time in a single episode, it's still fucking quality because the writing is strong, the directing is strong. You have good directors that are pulling out of the actors what they want their characters to be, and it's just quality through and through. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. And I will say this. I think I made a mistake. I know Vince Gilligan I think he's like an EP. He doesn't direct all the episodes. I thought he was like a primary director, but he's not. Even Ray Seahorn or Rhea Seahorn, who plays Kim Wexler, she directed an episode, which was great. Giancarlo Esposito, he directed an episode. So the directing is getting passed around, and it's still quality. But you can see the touches of Vince and the other writers from Breaking Bad, because they just fucking kill it with those camera angles, and they can what's so great about this show is you can have 5 minutes of no one talking and just actions happening, and it's just like you're just in. I'm just locked in, like, what the fuck's going to happen? What's going on? And they do a great job with reveals, and, you don't know what you're looking at. Then when you realize, you're like, oh my God, that's crazy. This is a quality show. It really is. Highly recommended. So go check out Better Call Saul. It's fucking awesome. All right. So I wanted to quickly go through, because I did go through the Microsoft show. I wanted to go through the Sony State of Play that happened. It happened like 4 weeks ago. So it's been a while, and I'm not going to go through I'm not going to break down each game or anything like that, but I am going to talk about the games that they came out with, because I do want to touch on sort of the comparison between the Xbox Showcase, but Xbox Bethesda Showcase and the Sony State of Play. So just bear with me. I'm just going to kind of go through it kind of quick. So the games that they showed were Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'm not a horror game player. I've said it before. I don't play the scary games. This game looked really fucking cool. It's a really quality remake. The trailer was good. Like, it was great. Like the visuals. I mean, this game is fucking, I don't even know how old this game is. This game's like, what, 12 years old or some shit like that? It's really old. And the remake looks fucking legit. So if you're an RE fan, this is something that I would recommend anyone who says, oh, I'm a big fan of RE4 or RE5, put this on your radar because it looks good. They went through 4 PSVR 2 games that I don't own a PSVR. I didn't get the original. I might get a PSVR 2 because now it's like the tech is sort of caught up to what I think VR should be. Now, I get dizzy really easy. I have vertigo, so it may be a fucking total waste of money for me. So that kind of makes me a little hesitant because just my eyes don't track sometimes and gets me dizzy and my inner ear problems. So I don't know if I could actually legitimately play PSVR. But the 4 games that they showed were Resident Evil Village, Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Retribution, No Man's Sky, and Horizon Call of the Mountain. These all 4 looked really solid in their own way. Resident Evil Village looked really cool. I liked it. The visuals looked good. Like, it looked like it didn't look blocky, and it didn't look last gen. It looked current. The Walking Dead's Saints and Sinners Retribution, to me, I thought it was a Dying Light spin, but they said Walking Dead, and these are characters that obviously they look completely devoid of the show, which I gave up on that show a couple years ago. I think Walking Dead anymore. Walking Dead, like season 1 through 4, maybe 5, I thought were quality, but essentially once Rick Grimes left the show just fucking fell to the floor for me. Thought it was trash. I think it's trash now. And plus, agenda. It's fucking all the live long day. But regardless, I thought the game looked pretty cool for like a decent like zombie slasher type game. The No Man's Sky, that shit looked legit. That looked really good. So I liked it. I played No Man's Sky when it first came out. Obviously it had some really rough. It didn't live up to the hype or anything like that, which I didn't think it was going to in the first place. But the visual fidelity and just walking around in that world, or any one of those worlds, or however you would actually play it, it looked really cool. Horizon Call of the Mountain, that game looked really fucking rad. Looked really cool. So, the VR 2 or the PlayStation VR, PSVR 2, I mean, this is good. This is quality software to sell the hardware. I've said it a million times. Software sells the hardware. That's just the name of the game. We'll talk about Microsoft and how they're going, but I just think this is what they need to do. If they want to sell PlayStation VRs, this is how you do it. So the next was Horizon Forbidden West update. They had like an ultra hard mode, plus mode. I may go back and play that game. And I was listening to a YouTuber who was saying to make some changes to like the settings and like turn off all of the markers on the map, that like, so you have to like go there before there'll actually be a marker on your map. Turn off like the aiming reticle, turn the difficulty up. That really changes the game entirely. It makes it feel more visceral and more explorative, as opposed to me, I felt like just looking at the map on when I was playing Forbidden West, it was like marker just everywhere, and I was like, it kind of takes the fun out of it. I mean, I don't mind like little question marks or something like that, because that's kind of like, oh, what is it? But it was like actual markers of things that you knew you were going to go do. So maybe I'll take another stab. I don't know. We'll see. Next game up was Stray. That you play as a cat. That's totally new to me. And it's in this sort of dystopian future where there's no humans. There's only robots that are walking around like acting like humanoid style robots. But you play as a cat. and it looks sort of like an explorer, like an exploration sort of puzzle game in a way, but graphically it looks strong. There's no talking, which is neat, so it's all visuals and sound. This one I'll be playing this one. This looks cool. The next big one was Callisto Protocol. This game looked fucking crazy good. I'm not gonna play it because it's a fucking spooky game. Man, this fucking game graphically looked so good. Just the quality was just AAA. Like it just looked AAA. You know what I want to back up to? Like Stray to me, Stray is like AA indie style. And I've talked about this before when I was talking about the Xbox Bethesda show. You know, I think that AA's are back. The AA games are alive and well because there was this sort of message that was out there. It was like, you know, all the big studios consumed all the AA games, and so now it's just indies and AAAs. And I disagree. I think looking at this showcase or this state of play and the games from Xbox and Bethesda, definitely there is a middle ground there of AA games, and that's not a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. I really do. So anyways, but this Callisto Protocol fucking looks triple A, really good, and it's from the creators of Dead Space, the first Dead Space, because in Dead Space 2 and 3 there was another developer or other creators. I'm not sure if it was another development team, but next one was Roller Drome. It's like a third person. You're on roller skates, like actual old school roller skates with guns, and you're going through like little arenas. You're doing tricks and shit. Had like a Tony Hawk Fortnite feel to it, but the art style reminded me of like Heavy Metal, like the cartoon from like way back in the 80s. Like the art style was really cool, and they're going for like that retro feel. Looked cool. I don't know if it's for me. The thing that got me, that really sort of bogged it down for me, was the fact that it didn't look like the animation felt like it was 30 frames per second, but the art was like, it was still, it was like it wasn't running smoothly. It just like the art was choppy like a cartoon. You know, it didn't have like the smoothness. So I don't know. That was kind of a turnoff for me. Next game was Eternites, however you say it. Some anime game, not interested. Didn't do shit for me. Next game was Street Fighter 6. So I'm not a fighter. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a fighting game player. Used to be back in the day. Used to fucking kill it on MK1, MK2. Used to play Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter 2, Tekken, you know, the originals. Like I used to really get into them back in the day when I was in high school and shit, but just they've lost their luster for me. The thing that stuck out to me was, number one, it looked really cool. Like graphically, the art style looks good. Like it looks really good. Like you know, for fighting fans, there you go. This is something big. But they introduced some sort of like open world mode where you get to run around and get into street fights and shit. That got me. Like that's something that pulled someone like me into this, where I'm like, hey, if there's like a mode of like, you know, like an 8-hour story, or you know, like a 10-hour story mode where you get to roam around and get in street fights, that sounds cool. I've never seen that before. So they may have gotten a purchase from me just from that alone. Tunic was the next one. That game looks meh to me. Looks like an indie game. Doesn't look wrong or bad or anything like that. It just doesn't do anything for me. Next one was called Season: A Letter to the Future. Cool art style, looked interesting. The music was intriguing. It's a maybe. It looks like an indie game. It was interesting, and the presentation for all of these games was really good. This one was kind of like Roller Drome, like, it could be cool. Maybe I'll let it come out and, you know, read some reviews and, you know, see what the word is on the street, because it didn't blow me away. And the last one was Final Fantasy 16. I'm not a Final Fantasy guy at all. Never played one. Never wanted to play one. I want to fucking play this game. This game looks really, really cool. The presentation was strong. The music and just the art style. Like I said, I've never played a single game. I've seen clips and videos and shit, but I've just never been interested. This game looked really fucking cool. I will probably own this one day one. Like this one to me looked like the next level of Final Fantasy. I know Final Fantasy 15 kind of had its ups and downs, like review wise, or a lot of people were saying like, oh, it's, it's like it's like four guys in a car on a road trip, and it was kind of douchey in a way, but I just didn't have any interest because it's Final Fantasy. This game looked cool, so that's a good one. So, but overall, I would say, and that was the end of it. It was only 30 minutes, and see that the difference to me between if we're kind of weighing these two out, I watched the first time I watched the State of Play. I was just sort of soaking it in, taking it in. Like, oh, there were some highs and things that I liked. But then, after the fact, I was like, no, that's pretty good. So then I watched it again. And the second time I watched it through, I was like, this looks pretty fucking rad. I kind of, really sort of was paying, I don't know, you start to pay a little more attention. You know what's coming. So now you're sort of looking for quality. This, to me, I think this is a very strong State of Play. And, I don't like to grade shit and like give it a number or anything like that, but I think this was strong. It was a quality State of Play. I think there's a lot of good shit coming, and I'm just gonna say it. I feel like this versus Xbox's and Bethesda's showing, to me, this had a feeling of next gen, well, current gen, because we're in the PS5, Xbox Series X era right now. There is no next gen. We're in it right now. So to me, this looked current gen. This looked like, okay, this hardware is going to start flexing its muscles. We are going to start seeing things, and it's right on cue, right? The first year, you're going to have a couple of standouts visually. Typically, the gameplay is lacking. You might get lucky and get both. But the first year of any console release, it's always the same thing. And then once year two, it ratchets up. And then year three is when it really starts to take off. And we're sort of in that second into third year mode where we're going to start seeing some of the best shit that the console is going to offer. And then, towards the end of the console, we'll probably see shit that's going to just blow our fucking hair off. Like, what the hell? I can't believe we can do this with these consoles. And that's both of them. I don't think, to me, I don't think Xbox is getting they're not wringing out the power of the Series X. They bragged about being the most powerful console on the planet. I haven't seen a fucking game not one. I have not seen one game that shows off the power of that console, because I believe, hardware wise, that it is the most powerful console. It is a fucking beast. It is going to be great. Show it off. The whole other conversation, development studios, I don't think they're doing it right. I think they're struggling. I don't think Microsoft's managing correctly. There's a lot of reasons why I think that's happening, but to me, right now, Sony is really showing quality shit, quality games, quality software, and I think that Microsoft is not. I think they are behind. Let's get into just some of the fallout from the Microsoft showcase, because it's so crazy. After that came out, and I said, and I still stick to this, I think Microsoft had a good showing. And when I say good, I mean it's good. It's good. It's decent. It's not great. I think it was lacking in a lot of areas. I think they showed off a bunch of games that were not on the level of the State of Play, of what Sony is doing. And one of the things that I legitimately think, and I kind of readjusted my brain. I just think that they're doing two different things. And I think we just, I think we as gamers, and if you're a gamer, and if you're an Xbox fan, and you have Game Pass and you're looking forward to everything they're doing, that's fine. That's a good thing. Support your bunch. Okay? It's totally okay. If you really like Xbox and you hate PlayStation, that's okay. You don't like Nintendo or you love Nintendo, it doesn't matter. Like what you want to like. And don't let anyone take that away from you. Don't let me take that away from you. Don't let me live rent-free in your fucking headspace. Because, I do take shots at Microsoft because I think right now Microsoft is just on the downturn. They were the shit. The Xbox 360 era, they were it. They were the number one. They had the mind share. They had all the games. They had the voice chat. They revolutionized a lot of things. The controller, like there's a ton of the 360 era to be impressed with. That no one can take that away from Xbox, right? But I think that, and we'll get into a couple of games here. One of them, the first one that I want to talk about is the Forza Motorsport demo that happened, that they showed off. I thought it was cool, and I said it, and I still think when I saw what they were showing, I was like, damn, that looks really fucking good. Like, if I had an Xbox, I'd be gaming that shit for sure. But the thing that got me was, it was discovered after the fact that Microsoft, they lied. They said that the trailer / demo was running on an Xbox Series X. It even said it across the bottom. And I remember, and I read it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. It wasn't. They fucking lied. It was running on a PC. Okay? Part of the problem that I have had with media, and media particularly, and Microsoft is, I think media covers for Microsoft. And I'm going to give you a couple examples real quick. So when I saw this come up a few days ago, I was like, okay, I'll research, I'll find an article, read a couple articles, and see what's the skinny, right? So I looked it up, and the first article that came up, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't fucking scour the internet, but I just typed it into Google and just started to see what's coming up. I only saw 2 articles about this. All right. So this is the first article that I read. This is from The Geek, written by, oh, it doesn't say a name. Oh, that's weird. Usually there's like it says source WCCF Tech, which was the other article that I found. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if this woman wrote this or not. Regardless, let's just move along here. So this was the article, and it's really short. It's only 3 paragraphs. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So it says, this weekend we finally saw the new Forza in the Xbox Bethesda showcase. Oh, I'm sorry, broadcast. The studio promised real-time on-track ray tracing and a 48-fold improvement in the physics simulation. However, the trailer was misleading. The team claimed it was running on Xbox Series X, but Microsoft has since confirmed that is not the case. Quote, we incorrectly stated that the Forza Motorsport demo was captured in-game on Xbox Series X. The demo was captured in-game on PC and tested on Xbox Series X for the same visual quality output. And then it says, here we go again here we go again after a decade, ? Okay. So right there, they fucking lied. Okay. And just, we incorrectly stated after the fact. Listen, they all fucking lie. Studios lie. Corporations lie. It's what they do. Their job is to market shit to get you to buy it, plain and simple. The next piece of this that I wanted to talk about real quick was, let's see. So this next paragraph, they're just talking about like everything that the director, Chris Isaki, he works for Turn 10, I think is the studio that's developing this. But then here's the last paragraph. This is the shit that I was like, what? So according to Isaki, all tracks, including older favorites, will be rebuilt with the new engine. Unlike Gran Turismo 7, there will be ray tracing in replays, but you'll also experience it while racing. There will also be a full global lighting during replays, so the replays will look even better. Polyphony Digital, the developers of Gran Turismo 7, are now in a challenging situation. And in parentheses, they already are with the dynamic pricing of legendary cars, and the game was being unplayable for over a day due to the 1.70 patch, in parentheses. That's it. That's all it says. That's the end of that art. That's the end. That's the only thing I can see on that. So this is what I mean by the media. They just cover. They cover for fucking Microsoft, and there's no denying that. Like that, I'm reading it right here. So this article is, they lied, but it's like, oh, it was misleading, and then they move along. But then they had to go out and drag Gran Turismo into the fucking fold. Why? Like, what's the point? And it was like, it had to take the spotlight, the negative spotlight, off of Forza, and force it onto Gran Turismo, and then take a couple of pot shots at them. Okay, just write an article. just write a fucking article. And I'm sure they have or whatever, but it just, to me, I was like, really? That's where you're going with this shit? And I'm like, okay, whatever. So the other article, which was from this YCCF Tech, Forza Motorsports Physics Ray Tracing Further Detailed Trailer was running on PC, not XSX. This is by Nathan Birch. So this one, what was it? So this article, it just says, this past Sunday, Microsoft Turn 10 finally provided a look at the new Forza and did a bit of boasting about the game's features, including real-time on-track ray tracing and 48 times improvement, blah, blah, blah. Microsoft has since clarified the footage was running on PC, but claimed the Xbox Series X ought to offer a similar visual experience. So, and then they have their statement again, and it didn't. Then this is literally, it shows their statement. We incorrectly stated blah blah blah. Then the next statement is, with that out of the way, a new Forza monthly dropped today, and obviously creative director Chris Isaki had a lot to talk about. And then it just goes on and on. Well, not on and on. It's not that long, but then it just goes on about how awesome it's going to be. And I just feel that the media and stuff, they just cover. They just cover for Microsoft. They cannot help themselves. And I want to say this, and I'll talk about this also about Starfield, because that's the next thing I want to talk about. But I was watching some videos, Xbox creators, and it was like they couldn't help themselves. Like the message about Microsoft fucking up and lying about what they put forth in front of everyone to see, the focus kept turning over to Gran Turismo. And it kept turning over to, well, if Gran Turismo did that, then no one would be saying anything. And because it's Xbox, that people are getting mad about it. It's like, why can't people be called? Why can't companies, not even people, why can't corporations be called on their fucking bullshit? If they lie and they get caught, or they lie and then they admit it on their own, it's still a lie. It's still bullshit. It's them fucking, they're fucking trying to get you to buy something from them based on false pretense. And that's okay to call them out. It's all right. And I was watching a video, and I was watching this guy, and he was like, he just couldn't fucking help it. He was like, the video had to be, it wasn't just about Microsoft and what they did. It was like, well, they did this thing, but then he was like propping up all the shit that's going on with Forza and what Turn 10 is doing. And then it was like Gran Turismo 7, Polyphony, and Sony, and Sony fanboys are just being like that. And I was like, holy shit. Like, why couldn't you could have literally just said, hey, listen, they fucking lied about this. It's not cool. I don't think it's a good thing, blah, blah, blah. But, with that being said, let's talk about some of the good stuff or whatever, and just sort of move along and just like, okay, but it was like, it's like, just briefly talk about it and then move on. And then let's start trashing the opposing console. And the thing that I'm really tired of hearing is I'm tired of creators saying, if it was on the other console, they would be getting slayed. If it was the other console, they'd be getting trashed. I think media in general loves to fucking write little hit pieces across the board. I don't think anybody is above that. I don't think there's anybody that's off limits. My personal opinion is that I feel like Microsoft gets covered a lot by the media. That's just my opinion. I also think that some of it is the fact that Microsoft is the underdog right now. Sony is on top. Sony is there. They have a lot to be bragging about right now. And I kind of get that. I kind of understand that. I people like cheering for the underdog, as I said before. So I don't really have too big a problem with it. The issue that I have is when creators and people in general, commenters and things, when they deny it, because you'll have these fucking people and, they'll write an article, then they'll go on a fucking podcast, and then they'll go on and say, like, oh God, I guess I'm being biased. I guess I can't say anything. It's like, no, it's not it. That's not it at all, dipshit. But if you're going to go out of your way you can't talk about something negative about Microsoft. You can't do it, because if you do, then you got to make sure you lump in some Sony shit so that we make sure we're shoveling mud on both. Yeah, I didn't see that shit happening, with the GT7 stuff. It was like, Sony deserved Polyphony deserved the heat they got with the transaction shit, with the outage, which the outage I think is totally being overblown. This shit happens on a regular basis. It's very common, like games go down, servers go down. It's a thing. But all of a sudden it was like, oh, can you believe people couldn't play their game for 36 hours? This is unbelievable. And it's like, okay, all right, bro, just relax. Like, it sucks. Yes. And but it's like, it happens. Shit happens. Sony had the outages on their PlayStation Online, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. The PlayStation, God, what's it called? Like PS Plus or whatever. Like, their servers went down, and I couldn't log in. I was pissed. It was like during the holidays one time. So I don't know how many years ago it was, but it was like 4 days where I couldn't game online. Fucking sucked, And I read comment after comment, listened to fucking podcasts and all these fucking, people who were, objectively talking about it. And it was like, oh God, Sony, can you believe it? Mike, that's why Microsoft is so strong, and they just got such a strong infrastructure. Well, then it happens to Microsoft. And then it was like fucking, like, it was just in and out like a fart in the wind. Like, no one were like, well, they had to back up within like a day, no big deal. And it's like, it still fucking happens. And I think that's the point that I'm trying to make here. Is like, shit happens, shit breaks. There's hackers out there. There's fucking, people fall asleep at the keyboard. There's people are human, machines fucking break, servers go down, things happen. It's not that big of a deal. I just feel like there's always a, if Microsoft does something wrong, we got to make sure we got to throw Sony in there on some degree so that we can't just make Microsoft look bad. And which takes me to the next this is sort of the big one to me. The thing that happened with Starfield, and when I reviewed it, and and I mean the trailer here, when I watched that review, I was excited for it. For one, I was surprised that they actually showed gameplay. I was surprised in a good way, like, okay, and I said it before, I said it afterwards. I felt like they had to do that. They just delayed the game. Now is the time to at least show your fans, your supporters, your console owners, Game Pass subscribers, show them something. Give them something to chew on. And I thought it was a good thing. Now, I said what I said, when I did my last video, or on that video, and I said I got No Man's Sky vibes all through there. Okay, I felt that immediately as soon as I was watching. I'm like, it kind of looks a little No Man's Sky. I'm like, okay, and it was like that, and then this and that. I'm like, wow, this kind of looks a lot of like No Man's Sky. And furthermore, I said it didn't look that good. There were some sections where I thought, wow, it looked good, and then it was like, then something would come in and fuck it up. And so it was kind of like an up and down ride for me, where I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool. And then I was like, ugh, that looks like shit. Or that fucking facial animation looks weird. And, the space exploration, the dogfighting shit, that didn't look cool. That didn't look good to me. Like, I was like, oh, it's whatever. The customizing of the ships, to me, it looked meh. I wasn't fucking shitting my pants over it. Since that release, and I mean like within hours, there were so many videos coming out, people just dissecting the shit out of it. That's what happens. It's the name of the fucking game. Okay, deal with it. Okay, if you're an Xbox fan and you saw people dissecting the game and you thought it was unfair or whatever, it's like, it sucks if it's bothering you, but don't let it bother you. Is that people are gonna dissect shit, especially something that big. That was a very long trailer, so there was a lot of content to scrub through. I watched multiple videos breaking down, just sort of, looking at frame rate and looking at different things. I gotta say, my opinion of that reveal has dropped significantly because again, like I said before, I watched it cold, and then I went back and watched everything a second time to sort of make my notes, but I wasn't like slowing it down, pausing it, and all that other shit. It's not really what I do. But for the people that did, and the videos that I saw, there was a lot of jank up in that shit. That shit looked janky as fuck. And looking at the from like, let's just talk about like the frame rate drops. The frame rates were dropping a lot. I mean, and I saw it, but I mean, I'm not a frame rate, junkie. Like I don't, like some people are like, I can see when it drops to 27 frames a second. I'm so used to it. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I mean, for the layman and for a normie, man, it doesn't really bother me that much. But we're talking about 30 frames. We're not talking about 60. Okay, so 60 frames dropping to 50 frames is like, well, I can see that. That doesn't look good, but it's 60 FPS is a lot of frames per second. 30 FPS is sort of last gen shit. Like that's Xbox One, PS4 era shit. And for this game to be struggling to maintain 30 frames is a red flag. That is a big red flag to me, because this is a Xbox or current gen console only. Okay, that the Xbox Series S and X, the naming convention over there, they fucking suck. But both of the Xbox consoles, I believe it's on both. But this is a current gen game only, and you can't fucking pull 30 frames out of your ass. That doesn't look good. And the videos that I watched, I was like, wow, that was really dipping. Like it was dropping like 5-6 frames. It was dropping down like 21 frames or something like that. It's like, this is 30 FPS. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, this can't be that hard. And I'm not a developer. I'm not sitting there saying like, oh, I could do better or whatever. That's not what I'm saying, but it is worth noting. It is a fuck up. It's a mistake. They gotta iron that shit out. The next thing that I was looking, and a couple of videos that I watched was just graphic fidelity in general. One of the things that I noticed right away, and I said it in my video, this panning shot of some trees, like they're coming down into the city. And there was a couple of things that, let me back up. There were some things that were said during the trailer, even the second time, that it didn't catch. Like even the planets, I went back and watched my video and I was like, I didn't even catch. He said 1,000 planets, not 100, 1,000 planets. So that was a miss on my part. But one of the things that I just didn't even catch was that he said this was the city that they were landing in, the ship was landing in. It was one of the four major hub cities. So 1,000 planets and 4 cities, not the only cities, just he said the four major hubs. So you would think where the main story and the quest stuff will take place. That's not a bad thing. Like four cities on 4 different planets, that's pretty fucking cool. That's a sci-fi game, that's RPG, let's do this. But 1,000 planets? That doesn't bode well. The math it just doesn't jive in my brain. It sounds bad. But going back to that shot of the ship is like flying over the city and you see the trees. The fucking trees, I saw it right away. I'm like, wow, that looks like shit. Like the trees just look like trash. The defenders have been coming out of the fucking woodwork, and it was so funny because the pendulum swung back and forth. And I heard this. I listened to a lot of different opinions. I listened to PlayStation guys and gals. I listened to Xbox guys and gals. I listened to supposed agnostic gamers, which I don't know about all that shit, but the defenders were like, leaves are hard. Like I actually heard that. I was like the trees were like, they look sketchy. It's like, well, leaves are hard. That's not easy to do, and that's hard to render. So I let that go. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like leaves are hard. That's why it looks like the trees looked like one static asset, and they didn't even like move. They looked like bushes that people like, they cut, like you can make like hippos and dolphins and shit like that. You see those cool sculpting and shit of the bushes that are like really dense bushes that don't fucking move. That's what the trees look like to me. They look like shit. Okay. As the camera was panning through, some of the things that I noticed, I kind of noticed, and I was like, but like, just like the shadows were just crap. Everything just it just looked really unpolished. And then some of the, the slower breakdowns where I saw some of the shit where it's like people that are like walking, they're floating like, 2 or 3 inches off the ground, and, they're floating across as they're walking. A lot of the assets were just static. They weren't moving. And there was a lot of tomfoolery with that shit. Like when you slow it down and you look, I'm like, even one of the assets, one of the characters, one of the NPCs was walking, his head was backwards. His head was on his body backwards, facing the wrong direction as he's walking. That's a fucking major mistake. You cannot show that shit. Okay? And this is what I touched on this earlier, and I really mean this. Bethesda is now Microsoft. They're one of the same. So Microsoft, this is what I expect from Microsoft. I expect lower quality. And I've brought down the bar for what I think Microsoft can do and do well. Compared to what Sony is doing right now, the fidelity, the graphic fidelity, the frame rate, the ray tracing, or not ray tracing, just the shadows and lighting and shit like that, it's just on a different level. Sony is just on a different level right now. And I think that it's really important that, I think it's important that people just accept that. Just accept it. Like it is what it is. And that's okay, right? As I said before, Microsoft is over here running Game Pass. I did say this, and I stick to this. I said, and I've been saying it since before my channel even fucking started. I've been saying it for years. Xbox Game Pass will mean the quality of games will get fucking watered down, and the quality will get low. It will fall through the floor. The Netflix of gaming. Look at Netflix. Look at the quality. They have tons and tons of content, and maybe 1% of it's even worth the fuck. And since 2016, it's really not worth the fuck. And I have been seeing this happen with Xbox. So getting back to the back and forth and stuff. So the stuff that I was seeing with, watching these people break it down, what do you call it? The mining laser or whatever. Some people were getting, and you know what? Actually, I want to bring something up. So apparently, I don't have Twitter. Apparently, I think it was IGN immediately posted a video, and it was a side-by-side comparison and it had game footage from the trailer and game footage from No Man's Sky. And there was a lot of fucking one-to-one comparisons. There was a lot. I mean, it was like, holy shit. Like this, they really, really Bethesda really, really likes No Man's Sky. They're big fans. They probably have No Man's Sky t-shirts and shit. They go to bed and they're No Man's Sky fucking slippers, and their sheets are No Man's Sky, and they got Hello Games fucking on the ceiling of their fucking bed. They wake up to it, Hello Games, because it really was. It's hard to dispute it. It's hard to say that they're not pulling a lot from No Man's Sky. There's just no, and you can't say there's no comparison too, because that's where I heard the conversation turning. As I said, watching all of these videos and all the stuff that was being shown, like the laser, like the mannequins and the fucking NPCs and poor AI and this was a big one. I got to back up. There was one it was like my brain's solid, but I couldn't, like the trailer was kind of moving fast. I just really wasn't, I was kind of brushing it off. But when the first person shooting starts, you can see the shooting, the bullets are coming from out of nowhere, like over the shoulders, like over your character's shoulders. The bullets are like flying. They're not even coming from the gun. Bullets are ejecting out of the side of the gun at like different places. It doesn't even have like an ejection port. There's like just shells are just popping off, just falling out of the top and the bottom and the side of the gun. It just looked really fucking bad. And they were cutting and like editing the action. And like I said, in the moment, I just didn't really see it. And I was like, holy shit, they really did. They edited the fuck out of this. They edited because, was it broken? It wasn't a clean like playthrough. There were actually breaks and edits in it. But the comparisons to No Man's Sky, and then on top of that, just the harshness of the videos, and I will say this: some of the videos are like, the videos are like, these motherfuckers suck. Bethesda's a piece of shit. Blah 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 blah. Microsoft ain't shit. It's like, okay, that is going a little bit hard in the paint. It's a little bit. It's even for me. I'm like, okay, it's okay to point the shit out and have a laugh with it and but I just felt some of the videos were like, okay, you're going really hard, taking it really personal. However, the pendulum started swinging the other direction, and I started listening to the defenders say some pretty fucking silly shit. One of the things that I heard was No Man's Sky, and well, first of all, going back to the IGN comparison, that was bullshit. That wasn't cool. That they're just doing a hit piece to make fun and tear down Bethesda, and really there's no real comparison there. Okay, I'm no defender and lover of IGN or any other fucking media for that matter. Fuck media, I don't care about them. But the video that they showed was like real. It was real. Like, it wasn't like photoshopped game. It wasn't a meme. It was a real comparison video. It was a real side-by-side video showing you what No Man's Sky looks like versus Starfield. And you cannot fucking deny the comparisons. You cannot deny that what each game is doing is very similar. One came way, way before this one. So that's just what's going to happen, right? I mean, I heard Callisto Protocol. It's like, oh, that's just Dead Space. It's going to be another Dead Space. And it's like, well, okay, it's from the makers of Dead Space. Why would you think otherwise, But this to me was like blatant fucking, it was like blatant copy and pasting shit. Do I think Starfield is going to be No Man's Sky? No, I don't. I do not think that. Do I think Starfield is copying No Man's Sky? Yeah. Yes, they are. They obviously are. Now, one of the defenses that I heard was like, well, they were inspired by them. Game studios get inspired by other studios all the time, yada, yada, yada. That's true. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not denying that. So if you say that Starfield is inspired by No Man's Sky, obviously, then how can you say it's not a fair comparison? Like, those two things, they cancel each other out. If No Man's Sky didn't have an influence on them, then the game would be totally different, right? Like, if No Man's Sky didn't have an influence on Starfield, then we wouldn't have a comparison. There wouldn't be any videos to like side-by-side comparison or anything like that. You could just, one would stand on its own and this one would stand on its own, and they'd be two games in their own little silos, but they're not. And furthermore, to hear someone say that they were obviously inspired by that game, well, then there's a fucking comparison. There is a comparison there. And it started getting kind of silly where I actually heard someone say that No Man's Sky doesn't compare to Starfield outside of they're both in space and they both have mining lasers. That's unfair. That's not true. That is just not true. The base building, the fucking exploration, the way you explore and just the similar, roaming around and scanning shit. The mining for materials, yes, that's the same. The meeting NPCs and creating your own like people to monitor your bases, that's the fucking same. The spaceship and space, what do you call it? Like space station or your home or whatever, the base building and the spaceship, that's all, they're the same. The space combat, very, very similar. The fact that they're, what do you call it? Procedurally generated worlds, that's the same. Okay. The idea that Todd Howard came out and said you can land anywhere on the planet, on any planet, I'm not 100% on that one. I saw a video where someone was saying like there's quick on like the planet where it shows like landing zones where you can land in specific areas. So it wasn't necessarily, so there was controversy as to whether or not you can actually just fly up to a planet and land, because in No Man's Sky you can. But it still means there are very, very similar things about the game. Is No Man's Sky is it going to have the narrative that Bethesda's going to put into Starfield? No, I don't think so. In fact, I think Starfield's narratives, that's the thing that's drawing me in. They do write cool stories. They do a good job of building stories and giving you that sort of RPG feel and, choose your own adventure from like way back in the day, like make the choices that will affect the world around you. That's the fun stuff. That's the good bits of Bethesda that I like. But I just feel And I just hear it all. I couldn't believe it. I expected the backlash from the Starfield, the critiquing of Starfield and everything. I expected that to get like some rebuttals, but then it like went the whole other direction where now it's like No Man's Sky and Starfield are not comparable. It's not fair to compare the two. Okay, so GT7 and Forza are not comparable, right? Because they're doing two different things. Forza Horizon is like, it's dumb. It's just dumb. It's like, oh, Battlefield, you can't compare that to Call of Duty because Call of Duty is doing it differently. It's like that. They're still first person shooters. You got to say they're military, they're first person shooters. There's a lot of similarities. Well, the latest Battlefield is fucking night and day from what it should have been and what Call of Duty is doing right now. Call of Duty's looking real fucking good. They took, it's so funny about this. Call of Duty picked the wrong fucking year to say they're going to take a year off because they would just dominate for the next 3 years because there is no Battlefield. Battlefield's fucking dead in the water. But going back to this, I think that some people are just they're getting their feels hurt and they're feeling insecure about their decision, their choice, their financial decision to sign up with Xbox and Game Pass and, wear the shirts and buy the merch and have your Xbox shows. Listen, if you have an Xbox show, I expect to hear Xbox shit. And I expect to hear subjective opinions about Xbox. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm there for the news and I'm there for your opinions. When I listen to a PlayStation podcast, I'm there to listen to PlayStation news and listen to their PlayStation opinions. Okay. And I'm not here to say that I am the beacon of objectivity. Why can't more people be like me? It's not what I'm saying at all. Okay. I'm just as fucking biased as anybody else. We're all normal. You're human. I'm human. We all make the same fucking biases. We always have a bias, right? The things that I particularly like to point out when I do these comparisons and when I talk about gaming and shit is I like to talk about the whole spectrum of things. I like to talk about things on both sides of Team Blue and Team Green, and I like to compare them and evaluate them because it's fun. It's a fun comparison, right? This is a console war, is it not? And people who are like, oh my God, this console war shit's so stupid. Oh, I'm so over it. Why do you guys have to have console wars? It's like, because it's fun. Because it's competition. Competition's fun to watch. It's fun to watch, it's fun to watch competitive sports. It just is. It's in our fucking DNA. From when we're fucking kids, when our fucking children are playing track and you're cheering for your child. It's like, oh my God, why do we have to have track meets and competitions? Why can't we all just win? It's like, oh God, shut the fuck up. It's just, and I think some people use the fanboy and the console war excuse as like a shield so that they don't have to hear criticism. And here's the thing. When you compare things to one another, like I'm doing right now, my intention is not to make anyone feel, or you, I'm not trying to come at you and dissuade you or change your mind or put you down or try to make you feel stupid or bad about your decisions. That's not it. I promise you, that's not it at all. This is just my opinion. This is just what I see. And I don't have any really feelings towards the people who are Xbox fans. Now, the Xbox people who are out there making the comments, they're putting themselves out there. That's fair game, right? People who are making the videos, like myself, I'm fair game. People can criticize and critique what I'm saying and say whatever they want. And like I said before, I'm willing to take that. That's fine. Say what you got to say. I don't give a shit. It's not going to stop me from making videos. It's not going to stop me from having an opinion on shit. But my point is what I was hearing in the responses to the analyzing of Starfield and the comparing it to No Man's Sky, I thought it was, it just seemed to me like people were getting their feelings hurt. And then it was like the comparison and the critiquing is fanboy shit and console war shit. And people, they just want to make people feel bad. I don't want to make you feel bad. I don't want to make anybody feel bad. And I don't think most people do. There are some shitheads out there that absolutely get off on fucking putting people down, female, male, it don't fucking matter. Anyone can be a fucking asshole. Anyone can be a fucking dickhead, douchebag, bitch, whatever you want to say. Anyone can be a bad person. And those people exist, okay? But I don't understand where we've reached this point now where critiquing the things that, or hearing a critique of something that you like or that someone out there likes is toxic, is not fair, is fanboy shit, is console war shit. It's so beneath me. And that's kind of the tone that I get really sort of annoyed by, because it's sort of like that hoity-toity, like, I'm not like that. I would never do that. While they make a fucking video trashing Sony. You know, while they make a video or they write an article having to compare, like here's the thing. Like I talked about this earlier with the Microsoft, you know, bullshitting the fucking the demo that they showed on Forza Motorsport. That reveal they said was on Xbox Series X, really was on PC. They lied. The article that I found, they had to make sure that they threw in Gran Turismo 7. Why? Like it's not a comparison. Like now, again, if Forza had released a trailer and then Sony released a trailer and Sony copied, like frame for frame, did exactly what they did, that comparison's, it's gonna happen, and that's okay, right? That's fine. But this to me, this No Man's Sky comparison to Starfield, and it really, it's not just the comparison. There is a lot that game to me looks, me personally, that game looks 2 years out to me. I predicted it earlier this year. I said that game was going to be delayed. That's what I said. I said Starfield will be delayed based on what I see. I don't think that game's ready. After seeing the trailer and now going back and sort of looking at it, you know, scrutinizing it a little bit, critiquing it, I don't think it's going to be ready. I don't. If they said the first half of next year, so that was in, I think that delay came in May, like right at the beginning of May, or maybe right at the beginning of June. Regardless, they said it will be out in the first half of 2023. So that means it's got to be ready by the end of June. Let's just give it to the end of June. So that means in 12 months that game is going to release. Man, based on all the shit that I saw, the poor AI, the bullets coming from nowhere, the fucking trees and with no movement whatsoever, fucking characters walking around, fucking floating and their heads backwards, enemy AI not doing dick, disappearing, like characters just disappearing completely, physics not being there. The idea that they say there's 1,000 planets to fucking explore, but yet there's only there's the 4 main hubs in 1,000 fucking planets. They said that not all the planets will be the what they call them, Goldilocks planets. They won't all be Goldilocks planets that have like habitat or like inhabitants, and you know, where there's going to be people there or creatures there or whatever the fuck it is. They were sort of, there was things that were being said that I was hearing. And I was like, damn, you know, I was like, the more I thought about it, like, that doesn't seem right. That just doesn't seem right. That doesn't sound right. And this is just the information that Todd Howard, who I think is a bullshitter, is telling me about this game. I'm hearing a lot of fucking things, and I'm seeing a lot of things. And I'm like, if this game comes out in 12 months, I'm going to make another prediction. It will be just as buggy and broken as Fallout 4, as any other fucking thing they make. Do I think it's going to be like Fallout 76 levels? Maybe. Fallout 76 was a fucking shit show. Like, that game had no reason to come out. And there was an article that just came out by Kotaku, who I don't really give a fuck about Kotaku, but there was a pretty scathing article that came out that I will probably cover next week, because I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. But regardless, do I think Starfield is going to look and act and be just like Fallout 76? I don't. Personally, I don't think it's going to be like that bad. But I don't think this game is close to being ready. Going back and watching just the things that I've gone back just myself, like not watching someone else's videos and listening to somebody else program my mind on what to think. I've gone back and just watched it. I'm like, wow, that does look really bad. Like, what the fuck? The shadows didn't even match up. Like, what's going on here? every fucking shot had something wrong with it. Everything they showed for the most part had something wrong with it. Like anything that wasn't like the base building where they're sort of showing the simple stuff, you know, but there was the gameplay shit just, it doesn't look ready. Doesn't look ready to me. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be, I'm going to call it now. My prediction is this game will be delayed. And I'm going to hedge my bet just a smidge. And I'm just going to say that if this comes out in 12 months, it's not going to be ready. It's going to be broken. I think it's going to be buggy as fuck. And that's par for the course for Bethesda. As I said before, I have my perception of Bethesda based on what they put out and what they say they can put out. I don't think that they're like the top studio. I don't think they're like one of the best studios out there. I just don't. I think they had their day. I think they're reaching and grabbing for those days back in the day, and a lot of their supporters and fans, they sure as fuck cling to that shit too. They cling to fucking Skyrim. Well, that shit was fucking completely fucking buggy and broken. On PS3, it was absolutely unplayable. That's not good. Fallout 76, a fucking shit show. Wasn't ready. Big mess. Okay, Fallout 4, no one on the fucking Xbox and Bethesda fan side is like, Fallout 4 was the fucking greatest Fallout ever. No, it's not. No, it wasn't. Everyone says Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. Those are the first two. And New Vegas wasn't even by them. If I'm not mistaken, that was like Obsidian Games or something like that. But my point is, I don't think this game is going to come out and be kick-ass. I don't know. We'll see. You know, that's just me. I may be sounding like I'm just being pessimistic and I'm just trying to fucking shit on, you know, other people's hopes and dreams. I'm not. And that idea of if you critique or compare it to another game, you're just going out of your way to make people feel bad. Fuck that argument. Okay? That's a fucking cop-out. That's a total fucking cop-out. That's a little shield. That's the fanboy console war shield that fucking people who get their fifis hurt when someone says something that they don't like, or they don't talk about things the way they want them to talk about it, or they don't receive it the way they received it, that's automatically the fifis are out and they're fucking shielding themselves with console wars, fanboys, toxic fans, you know, all the stupid shit, all the little catchy fucking terms. It's just like any other fucking term, the modern terms. I'm tired of them. Just deal with it, you know, accept the fact of what this game came out and what it showed. Call a spade a spade. Everyone would be totally fine. I would be totally fine. I don't fucking care. I don't care. Like it's not make or breaking my day. Like when I hear an Xbox fan going on like, this looks legit, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. It's going to be like this. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to do that. Cool. That's not, it doesn't make me feel bad. I'm not sitting there listening to him like, ugh, how could you fucking like this? What is wrong with you? Oh, that's childish. That's like, and what kind of fucking, like, who gets their feelings hurt because someone doesn't like what you like, or someone likes what you don't like? Just childish shit. But, anyways, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I've said plenty. So I will let you go. Thank you for taking the time. Again, I apologize for being absent for so long. Hopefully I can get back into more of a rhythm. I'm still very busy and stuff, but hey, life is life, right? I'm still going to continue making videos because this is fun. I do enjoy doing this. And I do enjoy and really do appreciate you for sticking around, for clicking on the video. And, you know, you could give it a like if you thought it was good. If you think someone else might like it, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel. Again, I do this for fun. So I hope when you come here and you listen, I hope you're having some kind of fun, even if it's just to fucking make fun of me. Hey, that can be fun. I got a lot to make fun of about. So, all right, I'm going to cut you loose. You have a great night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.